Welcome back to the deep dive. We are diving deep into something every single one of us does, but rarely considers its full weight.
Yeah, it's true.
They're not just reviewing, checklists of daily tasks, but truly diving into the architecture of personal time, the interconnected nature of how we structure our mornings, our evenings, and even our weekends.
It sounds almost mundane, doesn't it? But the mission here is to really understand those actions on three distinct levels.
Okay.
We start with the basic mechanics, what you do, then we quickly move into describing the experience of those actions, how they feel.
Right.
And finally, we tackle the deep psychology, maybe even the philosophy behind that structure. These routines, they're like a microcosm of our broader life philosophy.
And that framework, I think, perfectly captures the central tension, doesn't it? When does structure actually help us, save us from the chaos of endless choice?
Yeah.
And when does it become a cage? Something that limits our spontaneity. We're going to unpack concepts like decision fatigue, the critical need for a mental sanctuary, and how this whole hustle culture thing can really warp our view of rest.
It's a big topic, woven into daily life.
Okay, let's unpack this then, starting right at the foundation.
Yeah.
The fundamental building blocks of daily action.
Right, okay. So, the foundation.
Yeah.
Morning basics. There's this tiny, but I think crucial linguistic difference that often defines how tough your morning feels.
Yeah.
It's the difference between to wake up, your eyes are open, you're conscious, but you're still in bed.
Right, hitting snooze maybe.
Exactly. And to get up,
Right.
that physical act of actually leaving the bed.
That gap, that few inches between the pillow and the floor, that can be the first mental battleground of the day for so many people, especially on a cold morning. Right?
Absolutely. And if we wanted to describe the difficulty of that battle, we stop just saying, I get up.
Okay.
If you're genuinely resisting the morning, you use that fantastic phrasal verb. You drag yourself out of bed.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
That one phrase, it instantly tells the story. Are you a natural early bird or are you fighting your night owl wiring?
And the pace of that morning, that determines so much. If you manage to, hit the ground running with plenty of time, your morning feels leisurely, unhurried.
Maybe even done for pleasure, like enjoying a coffee slowly.
But we all know the opposite feeling, too.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at the clock and feel that little spike of anxiety, your morning instantly becomes rushed or hectic.
Yeah, defined by stress and constantly checking the time. Just go, 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 go.
So that need for deliberate, structured action isn't just about starting the day, it's also about closure in the evening. The sources really highlight the importance of the micro-ritual of arrival.
Yes, to signal the end of the workday.
Right.
Taking off the coat, the shoes, the work bag. It sounds small, but this is a crucial physical signal that work is done.
So it stops the job from following you home mentally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Prevents that mental carryover.
And when we talk about unwinding, we need richer vocabulary than just, I relax.
Right. Relax can mean anything.
Yeah.
You might unwind, which implies physically releasing tension.
Okay.
Or you might totally veg out. That implies, a total glorious mindless switch off, staring at the TV maybe.
Or perhaps you intentionally seek some cozy focus. You curl up with a good book.
Yeah, that's different again.
Yeah.
But the overarching idea is to wind down that gradual, deliberate process of slowing the engine so the day doesn't just crash land into sleep.
That deliberate boundary seems vital. Preventing physical clutter, like the work bag by the door, from becoming mental clutter when you're trying to sleep.
Exactly. Keeping those spaces separate, physically and mentally.
And then the week's rigid schedule vanishes, and you get that feeling, that electric sigh of relief.
The weekend arrives.
The weekend is liberation. And the functional language reflects that immediately. The first act of rebellion, always sleeping in.
Absolutely. And notice how time itself shifts. Weekdays are rigid points. 8 a.m., 5:30 p.m. sharp.
Yeah, clock watching sometimes.
But weekends, they soften those edges. We use terms like around noon or late morning, much fuzzier.
And the language of indulgence takes over, too. Instead of just eating lunch, you might whip up a decadent spread.
Yeah, emphasizing that moment of pleasure, the treat.
Or instead of just staying home, you might hole up with a binge-watch bonanza.
Right. Emphasizing that intentional retreat, that choice to just nest.
That shift from rigidity to indulgence is really powerful. It makes me wonder, If structure feels so good during the week, why do we so eagerly embrace the chaos or perceived chaos of a weekend?
That's a great question.
It must be that the structure itself serves some kind of hidden psychological purpose during those working hours.
It absolutely does. And for many of us, that transition time, the commute, is where that crucial psychological work actually happens.
The daily journey, the commute, right? It's your literal buffer.
It can be a noun or a verb.
Yeah. Of course, it also comes with shared stress, being packed on public transport during rush hour. Ugh.
Or getting stuck in traffic, in a traffic jam if you drive. Not exactly relaxing.
No. But if you look past the stress, the commute is also a mindset space, a crucial separation between home you and work you.
That's key. And we see people adopt one of two main strategies for using that time. They're either proactive or productive.
Right, like catching up on educational podcasts or maybe even starting work emails early.
Or they're protective and switching off, listening to music, simply daydreaming, basically resting the brain before the workday starts or after it ends.
Resting the brain. Okay, that brings us right to the core psychological strategy behind routines, combating decision fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
If every choice we make, even tiny ones, like which socks to wear, which mug to use, if that depletes mental energy, is automating those repetitive actions really a significant cognitive efficiency gain?
It is probably the most accessible one for most people, our rational decision-making power. It's a finite resource. It genuinely gets tired.
Like a muscle.
Sort of, yeah. By automating those small, repetitive morning choices, you conserve that precious mental energy. You save your absolute best decision-making power for the truly complex, high-stakes problems later in the day.
That makes perfect sense. So when people call you a creature of habit, it's not necessarily a critique of being boring.
Not at all.
It's actually a testament to finding deep order, security, and, cognitive conservation in that structure.
That's right. For some, predictability isn't boring. It's a source of real security and calm.
Okay.
Now we move into maybe the more philosophical level, the intention behind the habit. Let's look at the difference between a reactive life and a proactive life, especially with how we handle technology first thing.
The phone trap. The reactive morning is so common, isn't it?
It really is.
Defined by that immediate, almost subconscious reach for the smartphone. You haven't even fully woken up yet.
And instantly, the news feed or the email inbox sets your agenda for the day.
Yeah, you start the day on the defensive, just reacting to whatever the external world throws at you.
Whereas a proactive morning, conversely, consciously, prioritizes your internal state first. It creates a deliberate buffer zone against that digital deluge, that constant flow of noise.
So that simple choice, just not checking your phone first thing, is actually a powerful act of establishing control.
A huge act of control over your own time and priorities.
And this intentionality, it needs to continue into the evening, right? Where we require what the sources call psychological closure.
Yeah, the ultimate goal is to stop the day's stress from bleeding into the night.
Keeping work worries out of your sleep.
Exactly. But the threats are always present. There's the insidious work creep.
Just checking one last email.
Right. And digital encroachment, the gradual intrusion of screens and tech into what should be sacred personal time.
So what's the solution? Creating a sanctuary space.
Partly, yes. And performing what's called an evening audit. Now, this isn't self-judgment or a performance review.
Okay, good.
It's more like mental housekeeping. Offloading the cognitive residue,
Yeah.
those lingering unfinished thoughts, anxieties. Maybe by writing tomorrow's to-do list, just getting it out of your head.
It's about release then, not performance.
Precisely. And this is a really crucial pivot point because while structure is great, we have to critique the kind of optimized morning driven by hustle culture.
Right, the Instagram perfect morning routine.
Exactly. A high-intensity workout, complex journaling, meditation, lemon water. It all sounds beneficial, but the pressure to cram everything in before 7 a.m. can actually turn good habits into just another set of demanding tasks.
So this forced optimization, ironically, increases stress and maybe even hastens burnout.
It really can.
Why is this pressure so toxic, particularly for people whose circumstances maybe aren't ideal for that?
Well, that's the critical socioeconomic angle, isn't it? Promoting these really long, multi-stage routines, it inherently creates a toxic sense of guilt or inadequacy for people whose lives...
Like shift workers, single parents.
Exactly. Or someone working 3 jobs. Their lives simply don't allow for that kind of, luxury of time.
So the takeaway isn't that routines are bad.
No, not at all. But the pressure to have a perfect, highly optimized routine is the toxic element.
That makes perfect sense. So the pivot then should be away from rigid optimization and more towards intentionality.
Yes, making conscious decisions about the desired mental or emotional state you want to achieve. Is it calm? Is it focus? Rather than just maximizing productivity hacks for the sake of it.
Got it.
Precisely. And this leads us finally to the philosophical weekend, where we can hit this strange hodl called restorative dissonance.
Restorative dissonance. Okay, what's that?
It's the clash between the security we felt in the weekday routine and the kind of anxiety that can hit when you're faced with a completely blank open schedule. It's the paradox of leisure. What do I do now?
Oh, I recognize that feeling. That anxiety is definitely fueled by hustle culture, isn't it? The little voice whispering that every moment must be productive.
Yes. It essentially weaponizes leisure time itself. Makes you feel guilty for resting.
Right.
So the high philosophical aim here, according to some sources, is to repudiate weekend weaponization, to actually embrace purposeful non-doing.
Purposeful non-doing. I like that.
This kind of intentional rest creates what they call the mind's fertile fallow, that necessary downtime for creativity, insight, and true recovery.
So the synthesis, the ideal we're aiming for, is what the sources call fluid structure. Is that right?
That's the term.
Yeah.
You need some non-negotiable anchors, maybe a regular dinner time, a consistent bedtime to keep your sleep cycle okay.
But you leave space around them.
Exactly. You leave eddies, these calm pools of time left open for spontaneity, for whim, for just see what happens.
The goal then is to avoid the hypertrophy of habit, where the routine becomes this rigid cage instead of a helpful framework.
You got it. Avoiding the rigidity.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Your morning, evening, and weekend routines, they're truly a microcosm of your deeper values. They reflect what you prioritize. Discipline, self-care, efficiency, maybe simple rest.
And the core question you have to ask yourself is whether your routine is actually serving your needs or if you are serving the demands of a routine you feel pressured to maintain.
That choice you mentioned earlier, phone first or quiet time first, that's a really powerful indicator, isn't it?
It speaks volumes about your control and priorities.
Yeah.
So as you look at the structure of your week, maybe ask yourself this. Does your routine lead to rigidity, where the habit becomes too fixed, maybe even stressful? Or is it fostering adaptive alchemy, real flexibility, balance, and that crucial intentional rest?
Rigidity versus adaptive alchemy. That's a great final thought. Thank you for joining us on this surprisingly deep exploration of the small daily habits that really do shape our entire lives.
Thanks for the chat.
We hope you craft a more intentional start and end to your days, and maybe a more restful weekend too.